So one thing Riot is really known for is their map design, and also beside that, it's their lore. And Valorant has a lot of lore, and by a lot, simply just it. At first, it didn't have a lot, but with the new Icebox map, a lot of new lore came in that I want to explain. So the Icebox map is basically a facility owned by Kindgom. So we're gonna be looking into what actually is Kindgom and reading all about that. So this video is gonna be consisting of what Kindgom actually is. So let's look at this. Kindgom is an organization in the world of Valorant, right? If I remove this, I guess we'll be getting more details in the future, but the purpose of Kindgom is to harness the power of Radiant. So Radiant basically gives the abilities to all these characters, to like Jet and Phoenix, and even give, to Killjoy, like some powers to create stuff. With this power, the Valorant protocol was created, which are basically the agents, to stop the Kindgom from harnessing any Radiant and using it for evil purposes. Each map has a different significance to Kindgom. The map split is the Kindgom headquarters. The Kindgom K logo is littered everywhere, and the massive building in the background is the actual building for the Kindgom. The map Heaven is the temple that was taken by the Kindgom and repurposed as a storage area for Radiant, which is very interesting. The map Bind is a town being torn up and repurposed as a Kindgom Radiant processing center. And then we have Icebox. Basically, they're transporting in this snow, they're transporting stuff around the world, which is, really makes sense. That's my personal theory, considering, well, when it's cold, you don't need to freeze up any of the liquids, right, or something like that. So Laboratory 8 is where they create spikes, so black matter. The spike and the diffuser are both branded with the Kindgom K logo. It's really nice that they're actually putting effort, just like in League of Legends, they're putting it into Valorant. And it's advertised in Bind on A-Long on a billboard talking about Kindgom's floating islands. That's the tutorial map, basically. As well as Ascent, which is also a floating map, is the bay ripped apart and made to float, frozen in time via the power of Radiant. So without Radiant, that wouldn't be even possible. So the Valorant protocol took over one of those islands to use as a headquarters to train Radiants, which is basically the agents. They have boxes that are basically fake Radiant crates. You can see the little crates all over the place on every map. I guess we could go more into this. So this is basically a huge company. There's not enough info about, but I'm guessing that's how they basically hire these sort of agents with superpowers. And Radiant. So what exactly is Radiant over here? Radiant is not yet understood, sometimes discovered on first light. All too little about it, its effects have been observed, and the substance is known to inflict supernatural abilities upon certain people who come in contact with it, known as Radiant. So that's almost every agent right now in Valorant. Radiant is also used as in-game currency, used to purchase weapon skins. I guess like people that have superpowers sell really well. These agents are as follows: Viper, Breed, Sova, Brimstone, Cypher, Raze, Killjoy. Kindgom Corporation has been known to use, to force, to collect, to process and store large quantities of Radiant. That's where they're storing, like in a cold, snowy Icebox map. So the Valorant protocol was specifically created to combat that, under the assumption that the Kindgom intends to use Radiant for malicious purposes. Radiant has also been spotted on various maps, all of which are Radiant inflicted locations and points of conflict Kindgom and the Valorant protocol. Radiant is seen to be stored in green and sometimes orange containers found on differing locations on each map. So there's been some speculation due to some agents' voice lines, many of which refer to themselves as part on the enemy team, some of which use the term clone. It's possible that Radiant or Kindgom play an actual part in creation and use of these clones. So, to fight the Valorant protocol and collect Radiant. So I'm guessing like they just created clones to fight against, Valorant. Valorant basically is trying to stop Kindgom. It's kind of... Each map we're going to be getting, each single act, they're probably going to be focusing on lore. Right now they were just focusing on making the game better and, have minimal amount of lore. But even League of Legends has a lot of lore, so we can look into that. So I'm guessing we could look into this lore, and it's right now it's a conflict, so some of the info here is outdated now. I would recommend looking at the newer lore posts for correct perspective on what we've seen. I guess we could read these two posts. So if you found this post, This one is kind of outdated. I guess some of these posts are actually deleted if you're gonna be looking for that, but that's what I'm for. I actually spotted this plane for some time, so there's a hidden plane outside the map in the practice mode. I think it was patched, but on a spike planting test area, there seems to be a hidden area behind the secret little storage hut. So I did type to, you know, the support what this actually means, what this plane actually means, you know. And they said it's just an unused model right now, okay? It's an unused model. What I'm guessing is this is actually Kindgom's way of transporting, you know, a huge amount of radianite around the world. Could be an asset from the map that we have yet to see. So that's the most possible theory. And I'm guessing it could be, you know, they make some sort of an airport for transporting radianite or something like that. Definitely could see that. We're getting like 2 maps per year, I think. So could potentially be, and just, you know, they kept it there because, well, they don't want to, you know, be hidden in the file somewhere, so they have to look at it. I think it's a pretty nice addition, to be honest. So let's look at this. There's like a conflict, you know, what is radianite? We already went through that. Split. So split, if we go more into this, A side represents everything that Kindgom wants you to see and represent the company. Clean, futuristic aesthetics and clean streets. That's exactly what a company wants you to see. B side is what you expect for a traditional urban environment in Japan. Then right down the middle is the Kindgom Tower. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Whoa, this looks super nice. Like Kindgom Tower. I don't know why it's half not finished. That's really interesting. I guess they didn't finish it yet. Or it has some sort of a barrier with a very nice patios. Okay, let's see the patios. Oh, whoa, this is actually beautiful. So, yeah, this is an enormous Kindgom skyscraper. Let's look at this. Yeah, basically it's under construction, right? It's not yet made. This is like a blueprint, right? Looming in the background, the map clearly shows the gap between an area between Kindgom ownership and everything else. So there's small stores and then there's Kindgom stuff. What's the point of conflict here? Perhaps to steal the cubes as said before, or maybe disable the train station and damage Kindgom's infrastructure. We could go a lot more into this, but it's not entirely clear on this map, though the large skyscrapers near likely is an important factor. If it wasn't for the giant stone pillars and A being on fire, let's look at this. Holy, I never noticed this A being on fire. That, I did not never know that, basically. But you can see it out of the map, I'm pretty sure. The stone pillars are definitely a familiar thing. Like, in the background, you can see a lot of interesting things, to be honest. Like, when viewing this, you wouldn't expect anything out of the ordinary when viewing this temple from outside. Let's check. This is, like, outside, right? But when you check a bit more, Seaside has a whole elevator. This is really nice. Has a little elevator probably going down there. It's probably some sort of a testing facility. And it's powered by cubes. Like, these are the cubes that actually power this stuff. Buildings have been heavily reinforced and modified with new equipment. Power lines from all 3 sides lead to some other stuff. It's real nice people notice this because these maps are really detailed. From what I can tell, Kindgom set up a shop and maintained the temple's appearances. Well, it wasn't a shop, but you could actually keep stuff in here. They maintained kind of like some stuff in it. And also there's extra set of monitors near the B-side with a cute bear friend. I want to see that. Oh, this is so cute. But yeah, you know, they kind of set up a small outpost over here for storing radiant. They turned basically this location. A-side also has an empty case for an operator, which is basically a TF2 Easter egg, because this is like the TF2 sniper rifle and a jar of piss. Like, why was Kindgom here in the first place? Specifically, choosing an old temple to inhabit and equip seems inefficient unless there's a reason for it. I think it's definitely interesting. There perhaps as a well of radianite was found there and drew Kindgom's attention, and then the accident drew the attention of their enemies. Who are the enemies though? Are they sort of a rebellion or terrorist organization? So as we already found out, it's clones versus clones. Like, a lot of stuff talk about this. But according to this Polygon article, Valorant was formed by some secretive backers and all of the agents are part of it. So, you know, Kindgom thinks they're a terrorist group, so they created clones for that. It's easy to imagine that it was formed to combat them. You're definitely correct here. So Bind, let's look at Bind. So this map seems to be a production area for Kindgom, as you can see several towers nearby. Yeah, basically they turned this entire city into some sort of, you know, production site, processing plant actually, where they make radianite. As shown by the label leading to A site, each of these towers are actually a reactor and likely contain the same node phenomenon. Oh, I don't think I ever saw this actually. I never looked into this. But I guess this is radianite, right? This looks real nice. You can also see some more power lines. That's how they get the power. You know, everything is connected. There's an identical structure on the open range. I'm guessing this could be just a reused asset, right? I don't think of it as much. There's also a few instances what I believe to be Arabic writing. So it just says it's, you know, where it's set up in Morocco probably. Even more interesting are the posters leading to A site. Okay, yeah, this is probably a Kindgom CEO, but this is really interesting. Kingdom of Lies, look at this. And like, you know, the Kindgom Tower, like, and the boxes, like, this is propaganda stuff, like. They all seem to produce the Kingdom's towers and cubes, you know. I guess it's really interesting. Maybe Cypher could be attempting to expose the Kindgom on the danger or misuse of radianite. Well, radianite is a very, very interesting new material that gives, you know, a lot of power and a lot of control. I guess the training now we knew were probably but match of a larger floating island before. So if you look at here, it was radianite can kind of make floating islands, which is pretty much awesome, and they kind of made it into a headquarters, I'm pretty sure. It was destroyed by a massive burst of energy. As this was happening, we can see two agents approaching a portal to presumably engage the situation. Valorant was not yet formed when the first light occurred, so this was likely sometime afterwards. More on first light below and conclusions. I guess we have more and more clues. So further clues on the open range is the second floating island. There's a lot of lore over here. So I'm just gonna, with the open islands, I'm just gonna conclude that, you know, they use radianite and it's some sort of an outpost for fighting Kindgom, basically, if you didn't know that. The real interesting thing about the plane is it reads Atlas and M3, which I don't know. M3 is probably the name of the plane. Could this plane belong to Cypher for transporting himself? Maybe, but I think we're gonna find this out. This could potentially be a plane, you know, where Cypher, it's like, it could be Cypher's plane, or it could be like Kindgom's plane, right? For transporting stuff. A lot of this stuff is up in the air, but we know for sure that radianite is, and the Kindgom is evolvent, is the core of the conflict happening in the world of Valorant currently. The evidence surrounding Radianite Island and the heavy use of ardesipting on its boat its official website, and in-game makes me believe that the island's destruction plays a major role in steering this conflict as well. I guess there's a lot more to be found there. That mysterious event called First Light is what gave many of our agents their powers and where the world changed forever. The name alone suggests that this event is the origin of Radianite and where many of the current conflicts stem from. It seems that out of all the factions born from the event, Kindgom was able to control Radianite first and rose above all. These new details give us some answers, but raise more questions still. Excited to see what comes out in the future. Let's see what this is. Oh, that's so cute. Someone drew like this on Vine. Yeah, I think there's a lot of lore here, to be honest, nobody's talking about. So we have Radianite lore, and with the new maps that are gonna be coming, and even with the new acts, we're gonna be seeing more and more stuff that's gonna be in game, which is really nice. I guess with, you know, the new Icebox map, more players will find, you know, I have already a friend who found a lot of things in the new Icebox maps, so I'm gonna be reporting on that, so be sure to subscribe for that. We're gonna be looking more into the lore, and yeah, that's Fatman, sign out. Peace, guys.